By the power of Grayskull. Wait, wrong movie.
Hey guys, Ultra Maximus here, and I'm back with another 3D Blu-ray review. Yay! This time I want to talk about John Carter. This is the latest action-type movie from Disney. Really good flick. You know, out the gate, I literally just finished watching this movie and decided to sit down and talk about it after I watched the film. So I'm going to go kind of over some basics of the film like I usually do, talk about the 3D effects and what's in the disc itself. But I kind of want to talk about the John Carter property first. I've never seen anything on John Carter before. I knew about it, I've heard about it, John Carter of Mars and all this stuff, and I didn't know anything about the character, and before I watched the movie, I was going to go back and research the character before I actually saw the film, and I decided, you know what, no, I'm just going to watch it and see what happens. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. I'm going to have to go back now and read some of these stories. If you don't know anything about John Carter, it's a series written by the author Burroughs, who did the Tarzan series, I believe, right? Isn't he the guy that did Tarzan? And when I was looking up the John Carter stuff, I found it interesting that 2012, this was the centennial appearance of the character. So the character is 100 years old this year. So very cool stuff. Obviously, it's a good character. It's been around. It's based off a series of stories and books. They've made comic books over the years of John Carter stuff. And actually, there was a movie in 2009 that was put out with Tracy Lords was actually in the film. I have not seen that. It's called Princess of Mars, which is actually what this film is based off of. Princess of Mars, which was the very first story that Burroughs had written that this character appeared in. And apparently, I mean, there's a series of them, and the first three apparently are kind of a trilogy, even though I guess the second one came out 10 years after the first one, which was interesting. And the other thing I found interesting about the character upon researching him is he actually appears in a lot of other books and novels and comics and shows, and he's everywhere. They make a reference to him in a Justice League episode. There's reference to him in the second League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. In other novels, the character is actually referenced, and just all kinds of stuff. Very, very cool. So, you know, I was like, wow, you know, what's this character all about? What's the story all about? And, you know, I found out. So, yeah. Basically, what this whole thing is, well, let's talk about the package first. First of all, I had gotten this, I picked this up yesterday at Meijer. Now, the retail price is $39.99. However, Meijer had it on sale for $25. I actually had to scan it to make sure that I was actually getting the right price on it, and it was $25. So I'm like, you know what? I'll pick it up. I'll pay 25 bucks for it. Take a look at it. Looked like a pretty good film. I didn't get to see it in the theater. I waited till it came out on disc. And now I kind of wish I did go see it in the theater. Because it's actually very, very good. Sorry about that. Fighting allergies. But it's actually very, very good story. So it's a 4-pack. It's got the Blu Ray 3D. It's got a Blu Ray film. It's got the DVD, and it's got the digital copy in there. Pretty thick, and it's got the what's becoming a standard on the 3D films, or it's got the really cool 3D front face, and then on the back it tells you what comes in it, and the typical, hey, you got to wear these and watch this and this and this, that kind of stuff in there. The disc itself, or inner casing. Inside, we've got the Blu-ray disc, the digital copy code, there's the standard Blu-ray and the DVD. Nice little case. Disney does a good job with it. All kinds of good stuff. So the film itself, what is this movie about? This movie is basically, it's in the 1880s. It's just after the Civil War, right around the whole Wild West Gold Rush kind of thing. And John Carter is a character. He's from Virginia, and they make a big stink about that. And he's gold rushing out in Arizona is what he's doing, and he comes across an alien essentially, and gets teleported to Mars. So you got a guy from the Old West in Mars. Of course, he doesn't know how he gets there. Um, he's kind of discovering himself. Comes across the Martians, which are the little green guys. Now they're little; they're very tall, four-armed green aliens, and he ends up having essentially superpowers. He can jump really far. He's very strong, um, and that's all due to gravity because Earth is closer, and we're stronger because we have to deal with more gravity than they do on Mars. Is how they kind of play it out. He's essentially Superman. He in Golden Age Superman is what the character is. He's very strong and he can leap extremely long distances. So he becomes almost like a superhero. And there's a love plot that's going on, but with the Princess of Mars, who's looking very, very hot in this movie. And there's a war, and these other aliens are kind of puppeteering the whole war and that kind of thing, and John Carter gets involved and all that kind of good jazz. So that's basically the plot of the film. It's very epic. It's very Star Wars-like. They did a great job with that. The visual effects look really nice. It's a long film. It's a very large scale. It reminds me of, oh man, I don't know, like Dune. It reminds me of Star Wars, obviously, those kind of films. And it's nice to see Disney get back into those epic kind of movies again. You know, that takes me back to like The Black Hole, that era of action-adventure Disney movies. So they started it with Pirates of the Caribbean, and they're starting to take it back over here with John Carter. And what's really nice at the end of the film, because it's John Carter, everybody had this real stink about, John Carter. It should be John Carter of Mars and blah, 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 and Disney changed the title. But it does at the end, the spoiler alert, at the very end of the film, it comes up again and it says John Carter like it did in the beginning, but then it says of Mars, which is very cool. So that's basically the plot of the film. Very cool stuff. Now, as far as the 3D in this movie, they do a very good job with it. You kind of forget you're in a 3D film after a while when you start watching it. But the flying, the light ships or whatever they call them, the flying vessels are really cool. Looks very good in 3D. They do a good job. Like there's a scene where they burst in and attack that looks very nice in 3D, and just monumental landscapes. And at the beginning there's a good scene where he's being chased on horseback, and they do a really nice leveling it out, making it look like a large epic scale film, and it really comes across well. So man, what else to say about this movie? It's a great little flick. It's a Disney flick. It's rated PG-13. It says for some mild some material may be inappropriate for children under 13 for intense sequences of violence and action. And I mean, that's about the worst that's in there. Is the gladiatorial type Star Wars. If your kids watch Star Wars, they can watch this. In fact, I think this is a better family film than some of the Star Wars movies. This is something you can sit down with your kids, your entire family, and watch it and really get something out of. And I'm surprised that they didn't produce more toys out of this. I don't remember a lot of toys being made. And I mean, obviously you got John Carter, you've got the princess, these giant Wipe 8 things that are in it, the Martians, the vehicles, just asking for it. And there's this dog thing. Looks like a mix between a salamander and like a bulldog or something. He's cute and he's funny. Follows John around. He's super fast. I mean, all those things just cried out for toys, and I don't really remember seeing any kind of toys put out for it, which is a shame. Now, this film didn't do that great in the theater, and I think it was bad promotion. I mean, it was just it's a phenomenal movie. I don't know if they're going to make any more. I'm sure their intention was to do a trilogy because the first 3 stories are all connected together as a trilogy. They left it open, definitely, for one if they want to do one, but I don't know financially if they're going to do one, because I know this cost a lot of money to make. But the 3D and the scene where there is like a gladiatorial type thing, kind of like in Star Wars, the new Star Wars trilogy. They did the same thing, where they're going to execute John, and they got him in with these giant white ape things. Just looks great, phenomenal, outstanding work with it. Pixar did a lot of the effects in it, CG effects, and it just looks truly amazing. Good story, interplanetary love story, epic Star Wars style type flick. Good for the whole family. So, is this something you want to watch with family? Yes. Is this a must-have for your Blu-ray 3D collection? Absolutely must. Like I said, it's retailing for $39.99, but I did find it at Meijer for $25. So if you're out and about, look for it. You can get this for a pretty good deal right now, and I'm sure they're probably going to have sales on it in the future, but absolutely big thumbs up. I was a big fan of it. Didn't know what to expect walking into it, and absolutely fell in love with the film. So there it is, John Carter, 3D Blu-ray, yes please. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a great weekend.